Hello, I'm Matt Guff from thehouse.com, and I'm here with Bjorn Leines. Bjorn,
Hey,
how you doing?
excellent.
Awesome. Thanks for being here, man.
Thanks for having me.
You're welcome. Bjorn, as you guys probably know, is just a legendary snowboarder. So just having you here and like being able to talk to you throughout the day was just like the raddest thing ever. So thank you.
High five. Thanks, man.
Yeah, and it's cool because we're the house is based out of St. Paul, Minnesota, and you kind of grew up in Minnesota, right?
Yep. Still here.
Still here, and
Yeah.
you're in Big Lake, right?
Yep. I'm out in the woods out in Big Lake, which is like, about 50 miles from here. So,
Okay.
yeah.
And you say you're here in the summers, and then you're also in Utah too, right?
Yeah, about Christmas time, migrate out to Utah. So,
Uh-huh.
getting some snow out there. And I've been pretty much doing that since I was like 15, I guess.
All right,
Yeah.
that's nice. And in Big Lake, like there's not very many shops. There's not very many like resorts around. You had a younger brother, you had an older brother. How did you and your family kind of get into riding?
Well, back in my time and when I started snowboarding, there really wasn't, snowboarding wasn't cool. It wasn't everywhere,
Yeah.
and it definitely wasn't in Big Lake,
Sure.
And I trip out that we have a skate park there now because we were the only skaters that, we didn't know any other skaters. We'd have to come to like downtown to,
Yeah.
find another skateboarder basically. So that's how it started for me. Was we had a vert ramp and out in the woods, and we just skateboarded in the winter, and I saw snowboarding in a magazine and was like, whoa, snowboarding, this looks awesome, but I didn't have $300 for a snowboard, and so we would take our skateboards apart, and we had a hill at our house, and we just ride our skate decks and put shoelaces through the holes and use those as our bindings, and whatever, we just started pointing it, and I saved up and I got a snowboard the next year.
Yeah.
And then both my brothers got a snowboard the following year. So we got some kids in school interested in it, and a couple of little, we had some homies, and we'd go to Powder Ridge primarily.
No powder, no ridge.
No powder, no ridge. They had this half pipe though that was like this tall.
Solid.
And this was a tranny. It was like a kink,
Yeah.
We've got some photos from back then. It's pretty funny, like we're not even grabbing, just like barely above the lip in this ditch, and we loved it. It was amazing to us. We're like, wow, I can like, do my skate tricks on my snowboard, and
Yeah. I'm strapped in.
strapped in, and it was way easier than vert skating. And so eventually, like the vert skating kind of fell off in the
Sure.
winter, and we didn't do it hardly at all, and just snowboarded we had a little, like I said, we had a hill that was, probably about 50 feet long or something, and, build jumps and do stale fishes. And
Yeah. No, how'd you accelerate from riding basically a skateboard, strapped your feet with shoelaces to a new deck to kind of like to the next step where you realize that I want to snowboard forever? What
man.
happened in there? Is that a long period of time or a short period
No,
of
it's
time?
short. I was hooked instantly, but a big change from the time I was like 13 on my little board with 3 strap bindings. That's what it had.
Awesome.
And then I got a micro Kelly, which
Nice.
is a 145, and I got freestyle bindings, and it was on right there. I was like, oh wow, I can 360 this thing and grab, and it's amazing. So
Stellar.
yeah, I mean, I guess when I was probably like 15, I saw snowboarding as I went to a snowboard camp out at Mount Hood.
Okay.
I totally saved up all my money, like all year. I'm like, I'm going to Hood and I'm gonna get to ride in the summer. It's gonna be amazing. And insane half pipes, right? And they were all hand dug back then, and which was
They didn't even have the
rigorous.
pipe dragon
The
yet.
pipe dragon was non-existent. I mean, to dig a half pipe took like 10 guys 2 days
Oh, yeah.
worth of work. I mean,
Oh,
it's
yeah.
gnarly. But I saw pro snowboarders there, and I learned like 540s in the pipe, and there wasn't a lot of little kids in the scene and stuff. So
Yep.
I was like, wow, like, can I like actually? These guys get paid to like snowboard. This is insane. And I was really into skateboarding, so I Christian Hosoi and like all these guys that are now like legendary dudes. They were on top back then. I'm like, oh, they're doing it in skating, and like it's happening in snowboarding. Like this, there's pros. So yeah.
Yeah. So who were some of the guys at Hood and like in your younger years of snowboarding that you really looked up to?
Well, like the coaches that were there, or it's so funny to even call them like coaches and stuff. 'Cause
Yeah.
They're pretty much just dirtbags that, were good at snowboarding that were doing recreational drugs and, drinking and whatever. But they weren't that much older. They're like, 5 to 8 years older than
Okay.
me. So,
Yeah.
guys like Jeff Davis,
Okay.
he was there. Jimmy Halapoff.
Jimmy Halapoff.
Yeah.
He runs surf camps now, doesn't he?
Does he?
I think I heard
Gosh.
that.
Rad.
Maybe.
But
Maybe not.
Terrier came through, and
Okay.
that just blew my mind, because this was in like, I don't even know what year it was, 93 or something when I was out there. And
such a
he
good
was
year.
on top. And
Yeah.
he came through the half pipe and, shredded for a couple of days, and it was just like, it was insane, and to get to see someone at that caliber at that time and doing the tricks and how he landed on the vert, every time, and he was just so much better than everybody else. It was like, wow, why is he so much better? How did he do it? Like what? I just lived and breathed it from there on out. So
Yeah. And so that was like about 95,
93-ish.
93-ish.
Something like 15
Okay, yeah,
or
yeah.
something.
Yep. So like that would be the heyday of like probably Brushy was in the mix too.
Oh yeah, Brushy.
Palmer.
Yeah.
Gosh, that
Craig
was like
Kelly, Craig Kelly was a huge influence for me just because he did the contest thing, but he was like quietly didn't want to be the man, but he was the man. He
Yeah.
was like the leader, and he led by example. Like when he was over doing the contest scene, he immersed himself in the backcountry and just basically just was like, hey, I don't even care if I'm on the magazine cover. I want to learn about backcountry safety and just be in the mountains, and so I've always looked up to him for sure.
Yeah. So do you think, because you looked up to Craig and some other guys kind of like him, do you think that how they handled their professional careers, do you think that molded how you handled yours? Because you had an awesome background, and of course you did some contests. You did like 10 X Games, and then you started just filming more and just like shooting awesome video parts. How much of an influence did those guys kind of have on you, like kind of guiding your own career?
I mean, tremendous for the most part. Guys like someone like Terry that has longevity in the sport. It's I always aspired for that, and my mantra is kind of like, I'm gonna snowboard for the rest of my life, whether I'm a pro snowboarder or not, right? And so hopefully that message can come across in how I snowboard too, and like I feel like we're all connected by this passion for the sport that I'm just trying to live my dream for the most part and keep that dream alive, It's like,
Well, you've been doing it for a really long time, and it's 2017 now. You kind of like your first video part came out in what, 96?
yeah, something like that.
And that was Tales from the Crypt.
Tales from the Crypt, yeah.
Yeah. Who shot that?
A guy named Jamie Mossberg, Mouse. He made some skate videos as well later, like the Birdhouse video, The End, and he used a loose cannon, and it was just I was at the time I was riding for Airwalk, which was a big shoe brand that got into snowboarding as well, and snowboard boots back then.
Yeah.
For most people don't know what Airwalk is, but check it out. They were the hotness back in the day.
They're still hotness, dude.
Yeah.
Every once in a while you see someone rocking a pair of old like brown and black Airwalks with the logo on the front toe, like that's money.
People that know,
dude.
Right?
Still.
Yeah. So I mean, Mouse brought me along on some trips. I got to
Yeah.
go to Canada and ride powder with some dudes.
Yeah.
And funny story here. If anybody remembers the Ingemar Backman huge method.
Yeah, the backside air.
Okay.
Yeah.
The amazing quarter pipe in Sweden. So we went there.
Sorry, what movie was that the opener in? Was it?
It's probably Stomping Grounds.
Was it Stomping Grounds?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Maybe. Yeah. Mac Dog.
Yeah, God.
So Pierre Wickberg shot that, who later filmed the DC Mountain Lab stuff and all the Afterbang and the Lame and all that stuff. But
good series.
anyways, true story. Getting off the subject a little bit, but filming with Mouse in Sweden, we were there for like 3 weeks in Riksgränsen, where the sun basically doesn't set at this time of the year. It's
hits the
springtime.
horizon.
Totally.
Yeah.
And so you're almost in the Arctic Circle. You're way up north up there, and he had just gotten a 35 millimeter camera.
Sure.
Actual, real film camera from 16 mil to 35 mil. And, there was nothing digital back then. Nobody had anything digital really. And, they were just starting to hit the market. But long story short, he filmed everything backwards on the way he loaded the reels on this 35 mil.
Oh, in the wrong.
So
oh no.
he blew it, and he blew that shot of Ingemar.
Oh my
'cause
god.
it was a quarter pipe contest that day, you know, and it was like, so everybody thought, oh my god, I got the most amazing clip or whatever, and we just worked our butts off for 3 weeks, and then got home and there was no footage.
Zero footage.
Zero footage.
Oh, that's
funny.
heartbreaking.
Yeah.
3
Trevor
weeks.
Andrew was there with me, and he was like 16
Dude,
at the time. And
Gucci Ghost.
yeah, Gucci Ghost. Check
That's
him
right.
out.
Awesome.
Trizza.
Yep. Does he still rap?
I don't think he raps, but maybe.
He's a content creator.
He's just. I think the Gucci Ghost. He's like works for Gucci, I believe.
It's a big deal.
It is a big deal.
Yeah.
He's a designer.
Yeah. Yeah, he was on. I think he was on like Junior U.S. team around then, probably.
Yep.
Or maybe even
97-ish he was. Yep.
Yeah.
We spent some time together in France.
Man.
Back in the half pipe days.
Gosh. So you did some really cool stuff, like starting out when you were pretty young. You know, so how old were you when Tales from the Crypt came out?
It was like my senior year of high school. I think it was 17.
Got it. So after that, you kind of like just jumped into a pretty big pro career because you were one of the original members of the Form 8.
Yes, sir.
That's a fucking big deal.
Thank you.
Yeah.
It was fun times. For sure.
Yeah. It's wild too because like when I was in high school, the Form 8, that was what's up. Like the all encompassing, no other clique or crew mattered. It was like the Form 8, like do-rags and shit hanging off my pants and just like like listening to whatever. And by the way, the music that you guys kind of like surrounded yourselves around, I think was just like top notch. So good work on that. But who was original 8?
The original 8, so Peter, myself. Peter started the brand.
Yep.
And then I think Chris Delphusy was the first person on.
Yep.
And then it was myself, JP Walker.
Yep.
Then we got Yanni Malmi from Finland. Then we got Devin, and then we got Ville, and then we got Jeremy Jones.
Yeah. And that's the original Form 8.
Yes, sir.
That's like the Wu-Tang Clan, but way cooler.
Well, some of us are still alive. So it's good.
Yeah.
Old dirty bastard's, he's gone. But
R.I.P. again. Yeah. So what's the story about you getting on the Form 8? Because how old were you at that time?
I was like 18, I suppose.
Okay.
And
so right after you graduated high school, pretty much.
Yep.
Yep.
The story was just Peter Line, who was like totally on top of the sport, you know, at that time, was progressive video parts and, you know, bringing out tricks and just on top. He called me one day and was like, hey, this is Peter. He kind of talks a little bit different and stuff. I love you, Pete. It's just, you know, he,
yeah.
And he called and was like, hey, I'm starting this brand and you know, do you want to ride for us? And, you know, it was like Mac Dog was also a founder of Forum. So
Mike McGinty, right?
McIntyre. Mike
Yeah.
McIntyre, yeah.
McIntyre.
So I was like, oh my gosh, yeah, this sounds amazing. Like, go film with Mac Dog and ride with you. And, like, I was really honored and stoked for sure.
Yeah.
So.
And what was it like in the heyday? You guys were doing world tours. You're going to Japan. Like, what was that like being 18 to, you know, however old you were when it kind of departed? Like, what was that like?
It was pretty wild, to be honest. You know, I mean, it was back then, you know, around 2000-ish was to 2005 was kind of like the height of snowboarding. You know, it just kind of went mainstream, I guess. You know, like the X Games started to happen, and you know, there's bigger sponsors getting involved in the industry and whatnot. And I mean, we definitely had a lot of fun times. You know, I had a really great relationship with my now wife back then. So
what's her name?
Kristen. And so I, you know, like when we made video gangs, well, actually Resistance in 2000, I think we did Resistance. I got married that year.
Okay.
So, you know, I'm going on these. She's coming with. She went up to like half the spots.
She went to the spots with you when you filmed Resistance.
Not Resistance, but I was on the tour.
Okay.
So we went around and showed. She went to a bunch of those and stuff. And by 2003, we had our first son, Bear, and that was the year we made video gangs. And they did come with like everywhere. Like we had a Chevy Tahoe or whatever, and we just
Yeah.
load up the family, drive out to Tahoe, and get a hotel room, and baby bear was out there, so it was pretty awesome, man. So I mean, I guess my point is like there was tons of awesome experiences and stuff. Like yeah, you're in Japan and you might stay up late and do some wild stuff or whatever,
Yeah.
walk around and stuff. But at the same time, everybody else I grew up faster because I'm like, I'm getting married. I'm 23 years old. I'm gonna get married.
I'm gonna
like,
have a
it
kid.
just felt
Yeah.
right, and like we planned to have Bear. We're like,
Awesome.
at the time, Terrier had a son and Mark Frank had a son, and I remember saying like, oh, those guys have kids and they're pros. How hard can it be? And
Yeah.
so it wasn't easy, but I'm super glad that we did it young, just
Okay.
because we have such great relationships with our kids now. Because we're not, we're only whatever. I'm 40 and Bear's 15, and we snowboard and ride dirt bikes and
so great.
go hunting and do all kinds of stuff together. You
Yeah.
know, where if I was 50, 60, I might not be doing that stuff as
Right.
often.
I gotta catch up, man.
know.
Jeez. You're right. That's a good thing to think about too. Is like, I suppose even when you were in the heyday of your pro career too, like there's a lot of people that may not think about that, but to be able to have that kind of relationship with your then girlfriend, fiance, and go, let's jump into this, let's do this. Like,
Yeah.
That takes that's a big full-time, like big commitment for the long run.
For sure,
That's
man.
really cool.
Best decision I ever made, though, by far. And yeah, she's my best friend and makes me a better person. So
Yeah.
it's great.
God, and it's cool that you guys kind of stuck with it, like while you're doing that stuff. Like Resistance, like you traveled all over. You back won Chad's Gap in that part. I think it was back
Did I?
one. I think you
I don't
did.
think so.
The
I had
back
tried
one.
to back one actually. The first time I hit it, I tried
You
to
tried
back,
the. Sorry.
tried to back one, and I was a guinea pig, so I overshot the. You should see this clip of Travis Rice. I think it's in an Absinthe movie, and he guinea pigs it, and he lands like 80 feet past the leg.
Just
down
over the
bottom. I
knuckle,
did
just-
the same thing.
Gosh. Okay, so Chad's Gap. What? Why is it named Chad's Gap?
Chad, because this skier in Utah, Chad, built it and hit it first.
Yeah, and that was it. How big is it? Like lip to knuckle, about
It's like 120 feet, I think.
120. How much does it feel like when you're at the pinnacle of that air?
Well, I mean, the deal is you're probably like 50 feet off the ground.
From the
and-
bottom.
From the bottom.
Yeah.
So, and you're going really, really fast. I mean, we had a radar gun, and you had to be going 55 miles an hour to clear it,
Just past the knuckle.
to get over it. And when I hit it, Tanner Hall was hitting it on
God.
skis.
Was it that you were there that day?
Yeah, that was the same day.
Heck.
Yeah, and he was going backwards on his skis doing like cab nines, and he landed the cab nine. I did a couple tricks and like cab nine,
See? Cab 9.
back seven,
Yeah.
and a front five,
Yeah.
and so I was feeling pretty good. And my little brother was hitting it with me too,
Okay.
and he was trying front rodeo fives and sevens as well.
Toes?
Well, kind of just like front cork
Okay.
style. I guess
Okay.
it wasn't rodeo. It's like a front cork.
Sure.
And wasn't quite getting his trick
Yeah.
100%. So, and Tanner, for some reason, he did his cab nines like a bunch of times.
Yeah.
He's like, let's come back tomorrow and hit it again.
Okay.
And so we came back up there, and he went for that cab nine, and it was just, you could see that he was going too slow.
On the run
and, yeah. It was gnarly. You could just tell he's visually going too slow, and he did the trick perfect, and he just came up completely short, like 10 vertical feet short. Impact, and it was like, I broke both my ankles.
Dude,
Like,
that's
he
a
knew.
gnarly. It's so gross.
Yeah.
Thank God he's okay. Yeah. Wow. Is that the gnarliest thing that you've ever seen at Chad's?
For sure at Chad's Gap, yeah.
Jeez. So I called out earlier that your favorite jump trick is a cab 9. And I don't know if that's true, but I kind of like looking through a couple of the video parts, you do a cab 9 really well. And I think in IP2, Volcom's IP2, you do a cab 9 like first try, landing like on track powder. You were saying you wanted to eventually do like cab 10 double or something? Or?
Yeah, that was like my warm-up trick, and for me,
Warm-up tricks in cab 9.
I mean, I'm trying to progress my
Sure.
riding, and
Yeah.
so I was going for actually just I don't remember his cab 99 or cab dub 10, but
Sure.
Breezy was hitting it with me as well, and I think he was going for a front dub 10. Either way,
Yeah.
we didn't land our tricks that day. I mean, those tricks, we landed some other tricks.
Yeah.
So that's the behind the scenes. It's, you don't always get what you want to get. So
Got it. Hey, that's
keeps
all right.
you hungry. You got to come back.
Well, you've been producing video parts, like you just had another one kind of come out this last year too called Nothing to Prove, right?
Well,
was that a couple
Nothing
years
to
ago?
Prove was our own production that we made a couple, 3-4 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
We did Bucket List as well.
Got it.
And then this last season, I worked at Transworld on Insight.
That's right. I've got the book.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's an awesome book. It
Awesome
turned out
book.
really cool. And so, yeah. And then this season, I got to shred with John Jackson and work on his Red Bull series.
Cool.
And as well as X Games has a real mountain event
Yeah.
right now.
Are you doing that?
That's going on. Not the real snow. It's a new category. It's
Yeah.
called Real Mountain.
Yep.
And so it's based on riding at a resort. So the edits are on xgames.com right now, Real Mountain.
Sure.
And you can vote until next week. So check out the Snowbird edit and
Got
give
it.
us some votes.
And that's both you and EJack?
No, that's the Red Bull series book of John Jay.
Okay.
It's something I was working on this year. And then the rest of my footage I have locked away in a little time vault to be released at another time. Working on a multi-year project. So
Nice. You've done a lot of really cool things, and like Form kind of like threw you into this crazy limelight, and then 2005 Form got basically purchased by Burton Snowboards,
yep.
and that's the same time that you kind of departed that programming. What's that kind of story? And you've been on Rome for like 12 years now, since 2000. About that time, 2005.
Five-ish, yeah.
Yeah. What was that like, and what was the feelings that you and the rest of the team kind of went through as that acquisition and transition took place?
Well, yeah, I mean, it was just kind of weird because Burton really was competitive with Forum because Forum was taking so much market share from Burton at the time and kind of had this, more like a skateboard look to the whole brand. They really endorsed the riders and promoted us, and, we had a good video outlet. So they were so competitive. But they couldn't quite do what we were doing, I guess. They had a line they launched called 7.
7 series.
We had Form 8, and it was Burton 7. And
Yeah.
it was just kind of weird. And, like when the acquisition happened, it was almost like it went from being this really tight-knit, family. We were down in Southern California in the office. Like, we spent a lot of time down there in San Clemente to, all of a sudden now this entity of, Burton, a parent company.
Yeah.
I knew things were going to get weird, and it took a year or two for it to get more weird from my outside perspective. But it just made me look around the community of snowboarding. Look at all the other brands, and I was like, oh, LibTech, that's a pretty cool brand. They, whatever, they're there, they're doing rad stuff. Solomon, whatever, and kind of analyze what's going on and what's legit and what's real, and just trying to look for the truth in like brands. And I saw Rome and I was like, wow, these guys are like so self-made from Vermont, like American based, have the passion and are telling the right story, and that would like kind of drew me in. So I approached those guys and I was like, dude, I love what you guys are doing. And it's gone from there. So
Yeah. And surprisingly enough, they only have 15 people working in-house, which I just found out today, which is totally crazy to me.
Right.
And for you to say, like, I want to go in, there's something raw, there's something real there.
Yep.
And you kind of said something earlier when I asked what you read and what you're kind of into. And it's like I try to find the truth in things,
I'm kind of a truth seeker, I guess you could say.
Do you feel that like those values that you have inside kind of help kind of mold you to where you want to be with the brands that you ride for?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, it definitely is. I try to be cognizant of who I represent, because I want to represent people that have the same philosophy and like share the same kind of vision, I guess, and I feel like Rome does that very well. They're true to snowboarding. It's the people that work at the office, they embrace snowboarding. They actually go snowboarding before they go to work. I mean, not a lot of brands have, from the accountant department to, guys like my TM, they're like at the mountain to, the main owners, Josh and Paul. And that's really important to me. Like those guys love snowboarding. And since they are so immersed in it on that level, they understand it, That's why we have like the most progressive cambers and turbo rods and all this stuff that...
It's your board.
Yeah, and it's like, you're going to see these rods in like other brands, but it took them a couple of years to figure out, oh my God, Rome's doing this, these things work. Like they're innovators, you know what I mean? So it keeps me stoked. Like I try to align myself with people that are like-minded, I guess you could say.
Yep.
Snowboarding, it's all about the passion for the shred and, with your bros, and these guys they're my family,
Right. Yeah, you were saying that your wife, Kristen, you have your oldest son is Bear, then you have Micaiah.
Yeah.
Micaiah is your youngest, and how old's Micaiah?
Micaiah's 12 and Bear's 15. Just got his driver's permit today.
Whoa!
I know, right?
That's big.
He's hyped. He's like, I'm going.
Peace out.
Yeah. Well, you got to have an 18-year-old with you in the car, so he needs to like get some older snowboarder buddies all of a sudden, he says. So.
Right. Now, what kind of guiding advice do you have for your sons that are growing up riding? They ride dirt bikes, they do all this stuff. Like, what lessons are you trying to teach them out of your successes and failures that you've had that kind of like help them kind of grow into their own?
I'd say to be more of a leader. Don't just follow the pack. I mean, it's kids nowadays with like social media being such a nonstop influencer. Always on your phone, Snapchatting and back and forth with this stuff that disappears that the parents aren't going to see. And I feel like they're so exposed so much earlier on to like everything, and the world kind of seems to be in this like chaotic state. I mean, it's kind of, we've had wars going on for thousands of years and stuff, right? But now that it's almost like there's this fear-mongering tactic that comes from the top down and, in our news feed from Fox and CNN and everything that we get, we're just being bombarded all the time. So I guess I try to, like, tell them to look outside the box and evaluate things and then make a decision. You know what I mean? Don't just do this because your friend's doing it. Like, figure it out. Like, look for the real answer and then try to have integrity. I want them to have integrity and, come lead with their heart. You know what I mean? Like, don't do stupid stuff, I guess, like that. My dad, every time I left, he said, pretty much every time he'd be like, don't do the stupid stuff, It's like,
it works.
It's good advice, you know what I mean?
It is.
And it made me think about it like, okay, it wasn't just like, be good, it's like, there's a certain level of, experimentation in life that everyone's going to go through, but you probably recognize the stupid stuff. Just don't do that,
Yeah. Gosh. Now, what's kind of the best piece of advice you've ever received about snowboarding or just kind of like life in general?
Oh, we are going deep right here.
Dude, getting in.
The best piece of advice ever. I don't even know if I can just quantify that in one piece of advice. Just being honest. Being honest will always shine through. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Be honest in how you treat people and in like engage in life. Just try not to be fake. Just be real. Be present in the moment. I guess is something that I try to just be here on Facebook live right now, present with a new smile.
Right. That is a tough thing, Like I find that even in myself, like you're saying, like kids are on their phone. Everyone's I get trapped on my phone all the time.
Same.
Dude, it's like I'm just like all of a sudden scrolling. I'm like, I've been doing this for 15 minutes. What good is this doing in my life? Just like get this out of here.
There is a lot of good in it because you get exposed to so much stuff, but you also got to understand that all that exposure, it's not always good. So try not to have the negative stuff going into your life, like, you know what I mean? Yeah.
And I've heard like the first 15, 20 minutes of your day, like your brain is processing and acting like at the highest capacity. It's like you're just firing away, right? So if you jump on your phone right away and you kind of you scroll through your news feed or whatever, and you see these things, like those things will affect your day more than just anything else. So shutting your phone off, drinking a glass of water and sitting down, just kind of thinking about how your day should go is actually having tremendous tremendous positive outcomes on people's lives. I've been trying to do that.
I could see that.
Yeah.
I'm a big believer in manifesting your destiny.
Oh, absolutely.
You have to see your vision, because nobody else is going to live your dream. Like, you got to go out there and do it, but you got to see it in your mind first, and that, correlates to snowboarding. It's like, you don't just go and jump on a handrail and, back tail the thing without seeing it in your mind first. And so if you want to get better at everything in your life, just your thoughts control and manifest into reality. So what are you thinking about daily, And so you can attract that. It's like, law of attraction. So yeah, man.
Dude, like, that's like one of the most real things ever. Outside of like the snowboarding thing is that. And any person can apply that to their lives. Like, thinking how you want your life to be and like achieving it. Like, anyone can do that, but it all starts with your thoughts. And I'm so glad that like you recognize that. And I bet, have you thought that way like your kind of entire life, or how did you get to start thinking the way that you think now about those topics?
I feel like I've kind of thought that way since I was little, I guess. And from the time I was probably 18 to 25, it was probably perceived as cockiness a little bit, in a way. It can come off kind of crass, like knowing that I'm gonna do that and I can achieve that. You know what I mean? So there's a way that you got to be able to keep it inside you and not over project, I guess. And so I recognize that in my early to mid 20s. Like, okay, people, maybe they think you're cocky. I'm like, I don't feel cocky. I just know I can do this. So how do just go and do it, and who cares what people think about why and how you did it. Just know that you did it for the right reasons. So
got it. And what do you think turned you on to thinking that way?
I don't know. I think my parents, for sure. I think my mom's got a lot of energy. She's a go-getter, and she didn't really put limits on us. She was definitely like, you can do anything you want to do. You can be an astronaut. She was kind of like that type of mom. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And my dad was really hardworking. So was my mom. And he, doesn't want to live in a box. It's like you gotta form your own perception of what's around you. Your eyes might deceive you sometimes, but like, figure it out. So that mentality, I guess, was just kind of unsaid. Yeah. And I think we just picked up on it, because I have two brothers. I feel like they think kind of the same way,
Got it. And you guys have done well for yourselves, like, across many facets of life. Your professional athleticism, entrepreneurship. You guys do Celtic.
Yeah.
And there's so many things. Now, what piece of advice do you think you would give to anyone out there they're trying to be the best at whatever they're doing in life, or being a snowboarder? What golden nugget would you give them to say, do this?
Do this? Wow. Put me on the spot here. I would just say, have an open mind and an open heart in all your endeavors, because if you close in parameters on yourself, you're going to be your biggest limiting factor. It's you. And it's all in, it's like, people are like, oh, golf's, 90% in your head. Well, it is. It's the same thing with snowboarding. It's all in your head. And,
dude.
And so you gotta learn how to, again, back to your thoughts. You gotta learn how to, like, interact with this whole brain you have up in there. And, your tongue is the most powerful thing that you have, and it defines you. So watch your tongue, watch what you say, how you say it, who you say it to, and don't be going around judging everybody, and good things will happen.
Right? Words from Bjorn Leines. Dude, I'm so stoked that you were able to come in here and hang out.
Man.
Oh, you're welcome. You're welcome. Guys, leave some comments and questions. We'll make sure to pass those over to Bjorn. Again, dude, thank you so much. Cool. Thank you guys for watching. And hopefully you'll see you guys on snow. Subscribe to the channel. You can check out more stuff from Bjorn here at thehouse.com.
Go shred Trollhagen next couple days. They're open. Wild Mountain's open. It's on here.
Are you going to go tomorrow?
We might be going to Troll tomorrow.
God, I'm not coming to work.
Hey.
Awesome. Thanks, guys. Peace.
All right. See ya.
you.